Welcome, brave listener, to a realm where the very earth sighs with ancient secrets, and the biting winds carry the whispers of forgotten fears. What if the vast, desolate expanses of Russia, stretching from the frozen tundras to the sun-drenched steppes, are not merely landscapes, but living tapestries woven from myth, magic, and the lingering echoes of countless lives? Imagine that beneath the snow-laden boughs of the Taiga, or within the walls of a humble izba, unseen forces stir, beings of immense power or insidious malevolence, their existence woven into the fabric of everyday life. Are you ready to venture into a land where the line between the tangible and the terrifyingly ethereal is not merely blurred, but often vanishes entirely, swallowed by the endless forests and the deep, silent rivers? Tonight, we journey into the heart of Slavic folklore, where ancient gods faded into powerful spirits, where the dead refuse to rest, and where the wilderness itself holds a conscious, often terrifying, will. Feel the chill that emanates not from the external cold, but from the raw, untamed essence of stories that have shaped generations. Tales that suggest the greatest terrors do not lurk only in shadows, but in the very air you breathe, the silence that presses in on all sides, and the eyes that watch from beyond the veil. This is our world, our stories, where we unearth the legends that haunt the memory of a nation, the truths that history was too terrified to record, and the ancient spirits that linger, demanding to be remembered, forever unsleeping. The domain of the Bone Mother, Baba Yaga's twisted roots. Our chilling odyssey begins in the deepest, most primeval heart of the Russian forest, a place so ancient and untamed that even the sunlight struggles to penetrate its dense, gnarled canopy. Here, amidst the towering pines and the whispering birches, where the air hangs heavy with the scent of damp earth, decaying leaves, and the faint, unsettling aroma of something metallic and ancient, stands the legendary hut of Baba Yaga. Imagine this dwelling, not a cozy cottage, but a nightmarish construct, a decrepit log cabin perched precariously on a pair of enormous, sinewy chicken legs, capable of swiveling and dancing through the forest at its mistress's command. The very ground beneath it often groans, as if the earth itself is trying to expel this unnatural edifice. Surrounding this surreal abode, a fence made of human bones, topped with glowing skulls that cast an eerie, phosphorescent light into the perpetual twilight of the woods, serves as a grim warning to any who dare to trespass. This is the domain of Baba Yaga, the Bone Mother, the iron-nosed one, a figure so deeply embedded in Slavic consciousness that she transcends mere witchery, embodying the terrifying, transformative power of nature, death, and ancient, unyielding wisdom. Her breath is said to carry the chill of the grave, and the rustle of her iron teeth can be heard in the howling wind. Baba Yaga herself is a creature of terrifying contradictions. She is depicted as a grotesque, ancient hag with a long, crooked nose, often described as reaching the ceiling when she lies down, her teeth made of iron, and her appearance so withered and bony that she seems a living corpse. Her movements are often described as jerky, her cackle a dry, rattling sound like dead leaves skittering across frozen ground. Yet, despite her cannibalistic tendencies and terrifying demeanor, for she is known to devour those who displease her, especially children, she is not purely malevolent. She can be an unpredictable force of nature, a terrifying guide, a stern test giver, or even, rarely, a reluctant helper to those who demonstrate true courage, purity of heart, or simply the wit to outsmart her. She travels not on a broomstick, but in a giant mortar, propelling herself with a pestle, sweeping away her tracks with a broom made of birch twigs, a swirling tempest of dust and leaves that masks her passage through the forest. Her origins are shrouded in pre-Christian myth, hinting at her being an ancient deity associated with death, regeneration, and the cycles of nature, perhaps a remnant of a primal Earth Mother figure, whose benevolence warped into something monstrous as humanity's fear of the wild grew. Her house, the very threshold of her power, serves as a gateway between the human world and the world of the dead, a place where destinies are often forged or shattered. Consider the classic tale of Vasilisa the Beautiful, a prime example of Baba Yaga's complex role. Vasilisa, driven out by her cruel stepmother and stepsisters, is sent on a seemingly impossible task to obtain light from Baba Yaga. This journey is not just a physical one, it is a profound rite of passage, a descent into the archetypal unconscious. As Vasilisa approaches the hut, she encounters Baba Yaga's enigmatic servants, the White Rider, Day, the Red Rider, Sun, and the Black Rider, Night, each a manifestation of the elements or cosmic forces subservient to the hag. Within the hut, Baba Yaga sets impossible tasks for Vasilisa, sorting rotten grain from good, separating poppy seeds from soil, cleaning the yard, preparing food, all under the threat of being eaten. The air inside the hut is thick with the smell of old bones, herbs, and something else, something undefinable, ancient. Vasilisa succeeds not through strength, but through humility, diligence, and the magical aid of a small doll given to her by her deceased mother, a symbol of ancestral wisdom and inner strength. Baba Yaga, respecting Vasilisa's perseverance and the doll's magic, provides the girl with a skull lantern, its glowing eyes burning with an unearthly light, which ultimately consumes the cruel stepmother and stepsisters upon Vasilisa's return. The moral isn't just about good overcoming evil, but about facing your deepest fears, respecting the power of the wild, and understanding that true wisdom often comes from the most terrifying sources. The lingering image of those glowing skull lanterns, a silent warning from the depths of the forest, has forever etched Baba Yaga's terrifying yet transformative power into the Russian soul, ensuring that her domain remains a place of both dread and profound, ancient truth. The forest's deceitful guardians, Leshy, Rusalki, and Chort. If the very ground can shift and dance at the command of an ancient hag, what then of the myriad other spirits that infest the vast, whispering breadth of Russia's untamed wilderness, entities whose very existence is woven into the rustle of leaves, the murmur of streams, and the crackle of a distant, unseen fire? Let us now venture deeper, past the immediate shadow of Baba Yaga's domain, into the sprawling, brooding expanse of the Russian Taiga and its countless waterways, where the silence is often broken by sounds that are not quite animal, not quite human, but something chillingly in between. Here, the very trees seem to lean in, listening, and the water flows with a serpentine cunning, for these are the realms of the Leshy, the Rusalki, and the impish Chort, the forest's deceitful guardians, its tragic sirens, and its malicious tempters. Have you ever been lost in the woods, felt the familiar paths twist into unfamiliar labyrinths, heard your name called out by a voice that wasn't there, or felt an inexplicable dread as dusk settled over the trees. These are the moments when the unseen forces of the Russian wild make their presence known, asserting their ancient, often cruel, dominion. The air can suddenly grow heavy, charged with an unseen menace, the scent of damp earth mingling with the faint, unsettling aroma of decay or something unnaturally sweet. The Leshy, the forest master, is perhaps the most omnipresent of these wilderness spirits, a shape-shifting entity embodying the forest's untamed nature. He can appear as a towering giant, his skin like bark, his beard and hair made of moss and leaves, his eyes glowing like embers in the twilight, or he can shrink to the size of a blade of grass, becoming utterly imperceptible. His voice is a chilling cacophony. Sometimes he mimics familiar voices, luring travelers deeper into the woods, calling out in the voices of loved ones, beckoning the lost towards perilous bogs or impassable thickets. Other times he laughs with the sound of rustling leaves or howls like a winter storm, echoing through the vast emptiness. He is not inherently evil, but incredibly unpredictable. He protects his forest domain fiercely, punishing disrespectful hunters by leading them astray, causing their weapons to misfire, or even driving their dogs to madness. Yet, he can also be appeased with offerings of bread, salt, or tobacco left on a tree stump, and in return might guide a lost traveler, grant a good hunt, or protect the cattle grazing nearby. Imagine a lone hunter, deep in the Taiga, suddenly finding his compass spinning wildly, his tracks vanishing, and the familiar landscape transforming into an endless, confusing maze, all while a mocking chuckle echoes from the unseen depths of the trees. That is the Leshy at work, a master illusionist of the wild, a constant reminder that humans are mere guests in his ancient sovereign kingdom. If the Leshy rules the woods, then the Rusalki reign supreme in the shimmering, silent waters, the lakes, rivers, and deep, dark ponds of Russia. These are the beautiful, yet terrifying, water nymphs, spirits of drowned maidens, often those who died tragically, by suicide or through murder, their unfulfilled lives trapping them in a watery purgatory. Their hair, long and flowing, is typically green or golden like seaweed, their skin pale and luminous, and their eyes hold a deep, melancholic sorrow that can transform into a chilling, seductive gleam. During Rusalka week, Rusalnaya Nedelya, around early summer, they are said to emerge from the water, dancing in moonlit meadows, their ethereal laughter like the tinkling of ice, their mournful songs luring unsuspecting men to their watery graves. They often entwine their victims with their long, wet hair, dragging them down to the depths, or tickle them to death with their cold, clammy hands. Picture a warm summer evening, a young man by the river, drawn by an impossibly beautiful song, seeing a figure emerge from the mist, her form shimmering in the moonlight, her gaze hypnotic, and then feeling an icy grip around his wrist, pulling him inexorably into the dark, swirling current. The terror is not just in the death, but in the seductive sorrow that precedes it, the profound melancholy of their eternal longing for a life denied. These tales served as stark warnings, particularly to young men, about the dangers of unsupervised waters and the seductive, often fatal, beauty of the unseen world. And then there are the chort, the devils or imps of Slavic folklore, ubiquitous, mischievous, and fundamentally malicious entities, often associated with crossroads, bathhouses, and dark, forgotten corners of human habitation, as well as the wild. Though not as grand as the Leshy or as tragic as the Rusalki, their insidious presence makes them a constant, irritating, and sometimes terrifying threat. They are often depicted with small horns, a tail, and cloven hooves, tricksters who tempt people into sin, cause bad luck, or simply delight in petty torment. Imagine finding your carefully stacked firewood inexplicably scattered, your tools hidden, or hearing faint, mocking whispers in the dead of night. These could be the works of a chort, testing the boundaries, finding weaknesses. They are not grand demons, but insidious forces of petty evil, sowing discord and misfortune. Their presence underscores the pervasive belief that malevolent spirits, not just human failings, can lead to temptation, accidents, and a general sense of unease. The vast, untamed nature of Russia, with its endless forests and isolated settlements, provides a fertile ground for these spirits, making every rustle, every unexpected sound, a potential manifestation of something ancient, something wild, something that watches and waits with a patient, primal hunger. The unsleeping earth, hauntings of the Izba and the Taiga's frozen graves. If the great outdoors teems with the unseen, then what of the places where humanity seeks solace and shelter from the biting cold and the endless dark? Even within the supposed safety of the humble wooden Izba, or the abandoned paths of the vast, unforgiving taiga, the boundaries between the living and the dead, the seen and the unseen, are fragile, constantly threatened by spirits born of domesticity, human suffering, and the sheer, overwhelming power of Russia's unsleeping earth. The air inside an old Izba might carry the faint scent of wood smoke and rye bread, but also a subtle, indefinable chill, a feeling of being observed even in an empty room. Outside, in the frozen expanse of the taiga, the silence can be so profound it hums with an unheard frequency, a silence that seems to hold the echoes of forgotten screams, the clatter of phantom chains, and the slow, deliberate footsteps of things that should not be. Have you ever woken in the dead of night to an inexplicable sound, a whispered name, or a sudden, crushing weight on your chest, dismissing it as a dream, when perhaps it was something far more ancient, far more intimately connected to your very home? This is the realm of the domovoi, the banik, the dvorovoi, and the lingering, restless dead that haunt the vast, frozen graves of the taiga. The domovoi is the benevolent, yet sometimes mischievous spirit of the house, a crucial entity in every Russian peasant's life. Often appearing as a small, hairy old man, or sometimes as a cat or dog, he resides in the warmest parts of the house, usually behind the stove or under the threshold. He is the guardian of the family, protecting them from harm, ensuring good fortune, and watching over the household's well-being. His presence is subtle, the faint creak of floorboards when no one is there, the gentle rattle of dishes, the comforting warmth in a specific spot. He will warn of impending danger by sighing, groaning, or even lightly pulling someone's hair. A happy domovoi ensures prosperity, but an angered one can cause chaos, breaking dishes, hiding objects, or tormenting livestock. Imagine a family moving to a new home, carefully carrying a small piece of bread or a lump of coal from their old hearth to invite their domovoi to join them, for to leave him behind would be to invite misfortune and a haunting by a lonely, spiteful spirit. The careful ritual of leaving milk, bread, or tobacco for him, particularly on his feast day, ensures his contentment. The psychological comfort of knowing an unseen protector watched over your home was immense, a silent, furry guardian against the myriad dangers of the vast, untamed world outside. Beyond the main living space, other spirits held dominion over specific household structures, like the bannock, the powerful and volatile spirit of the bathhouse. Russian bathhouses, or banyas, were not just places of hygiene, but of ritual purification, often built separate from the main izba due to the fire risk, threshold between worlds. The bannock, often depicted as a tiny, old man or woman, naked and covered in leaves, is fiercely protective of his domain. He demands respect, neglect to leave an offering of soap, hot water, or a fresh whisk after bathing, and he might scald you, suffocate you with steam, or even peel the skin from your body. Stories are told of villagers rushing out of the banya, their skin tingling, hearing a guttural growl from within, having inadvertently angered the bannock by staying too long or by simply being too boisterous. These fears were not idle. The intense heat and steam of a banya could indeed cause serious harm, and attributing such accidents to a powerful spirit reinforced careful behavior and ritualistic respect for this essential yet dangerous part of daily life. The air in a banya, even empty, sometimes carried the lingering scent of damp wood and steam, a subtle reminder of the bannock's unseen vigilance. But the truly unsettling presences manifest in the vast, desolate stretches of the Russian Taiga, a landscape so immense it swallowed entire armies, exiled populations, and countless lost souls, many of whom never found peace. Here, the unsleeping dead are not confined to specific locales like haunted castles, but permeate the very earth, their torment echoing through the frozen silence. These are the pokojniki, the restless dead, often those who met violent, unjust ends, who were improperly buried, or who simply died far from home, their spirits unable to find solace or passage to the afterlife. Imagine the spectral forms of political prisoners, starved and worked to death in the gulags, still shuffling through the desolate snow-covered forests, their whispers carried on the blizzard winds, their emaciated forms glimpsed fleetingly amidst the falling snow. Or perhaps the ghosts of ancient warriors, fallen in forgotten battles, their skeletal hands still gripping spectral weapons, their silent screams carried on the biting cold, their eyes glowing faintly through the fog. The taiga, with its endless expanse and its profound isolation, becomes a vast, open grave for these lingering souls, their suffering echoing through the ages, intertwining with the very geography of the land. Encounters range from sudden, profound sensations of dread and cold, to fleeting apparitions of shadowy figures, to the inexplicable sound of distant chains clanking, or the faint, mournful cries of those forever lost, their spirits tethered to the vast, indifferent wilderness. The profound emptiness of the taiga is not truly empty. It is filled with the silent, unsleeping sorrow and rage of those who died, unmourned and unburied, their spectral presence a constant, chilling reminder that in Russia the dead are not always laid to rest, but sometimes simply wander, forever watching. And so, our journey through the deep, mystical heart of Russia concludes, leaving us perhaps with a profound new understanding, and perhaps a lingering chill. We have traversed the ancient domains of Baba Yaga, felt the deceptive lures of the Leshy and Rusalki, witnessed the subtle vigilance of the Domovoy, and walked amidst the unsleeping dead that haunt the boundless taiga. Have you felt the subtle shift in the air, the way the silence now seems to hum with unheard stories, the ancient, watchful presence that perhaps now feels a little closer than before? The legends of Russia are not mere fairy tales. They are echoes of a land forged in extremes of beauty and brutality, a place where the veil between worlds is gossamer thin, easily torn by the vastness of its wilderness, the depth of its human suffering, and the enduring power of its ancient beliefs. Every rustle of leaves, every creak of an old house, every unexplained shadow in the corner of your eye, could these truly be coincidences, or are they the subtle brush of an unseen presence, a reminder that the stories we've just shared are not confined to the pages of lore, but are alive, breathing, and perhaps even watching, just beyond the edge of your perception? For in Russia, the spirits are not just memory, they are the very essence of the land, eternal, omnipresent, and forever, truly, unsleeping.